What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below. But if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all massively helps out this channel. It really does. And just a huge thank you for spending 20 minutes or so of your day with me. Listen to a story or two means the absolute world. And with that being said, let's just crack straight on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story is from the Kawaii Pisces. I don't know if I pronounced that right. And I just want to mention beforehand, it does mention eating disorders. So if you do want to skip this one, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are in the description. This first story is called, Am I the Arsehole for Triggering a Girl's Eating Disorder by Ordering a Salad? I am part-timing in an IT company that is very close-knit. My boss Stephen and his wife were always sweet. It was my first month and it was my boss's birthday week, so he and his wife Melissa were kind enough to include me in this fancy dinner they were taking everyone to. A week prior to the dinner, Melissa added everyone to a group chat and asked whether we had suggestions on where to eat. I told her that I'm fine with anything as long as there are vegetarian options available, or at least chicken. They brought their daughter Steph, 15, to the dinner, and she was a sweet little girl. Now, Steph was really interested in me and she kept on asking me questions about how I look the way I look. Now, I am short, 5 foot, but can be somewhat deemed as fit to today's generation. I was transparent with her and told her that I don't restrict myself to certain foods, but rather eat everything in moderation. Plus, I have a plant-based diet and home-cooked meals, so that helps, and I also lift weights. Now, Melissa overheard our conversation partially. She pulled me aside and told me that Steph was recovering from eating disorders, so she encouraged me to be honest with her and not lie to her and not order anything that screams diet. When I saw the menu, there were little to no vegetarian options available. It didn't have anything for me. I was very disappointed and made a comment that, oh wow, there are no vegetarian options. Melissa chimed in and said that eating meat once in a while won't affect my weight. Now, when I say plant-based diet, it's not that I don't eat meat, but that I only eat chicken, maybe once a week as a side dish, and certain types of fish occasionally. But other than that I mostly eat vegetarian dishes. My food habits are not for my weight, but for my religion/culture. It has nothing to do with my weight. When the waiter came in, I was still glued to my menu when all the others had already ordered. Melissa said that, oh, she would have the duck too, and I interrupted and said, no, I will have the garden salad. I hate salads, but there were no other veg options. Melissa got quiet. After a few minutes, she told me that I shouldn't have lied and led on her daughter if I was going to order a skinny salad and starve myself. She said that I am just like those Instagram influencers who lie to impressionable young girls about their food habits and bodies, and I just proved that by ordering a salad after giving her daughter a "don't restrict yourself" speech, and I probably triggered her eating disorder. I tried to explain that I only ordered a salad because there was no other option in the menu for me, but then she said that I should have just sucked it up and eaten the damn duck, as it isn't going to affect my weight. But then again, I corrected that it is a religious thing and not a diet thing. She said that if I eat chicken, then obviously I would eat other animals too, and I was putting up an act. It was horrible. She completely tore me down and I immediately left. Edit 1, my boss tried to calm her down, but she got pissed off and started making personal attacks on me on how I'm just trying to sleep my way through the job, as I don't look like an engineer. And also how I'm obsessed with my looks and weight and is also affecting her child. Edit 2, I am Hindu and half Brahmin in that. I didn't want to mention this, but people are curious, so that's the only reason. It is okay to eat chicken and fish here, but eating any other animal is frowned upon, and eating beef is considered a sin. So it's not that I stopped eating other meat. I have never eaten anything other than chicken and fish in the first place. Now we're going to head straight to the comments with this one. There's some real good comments that I want to cover. And we're going to start with Deepad saying, not the arsehole, they have no right to dictate what you eat. If their daughters get triggered by someone else eating a salad, then that daughter needs more help than she is currently getting. You are not the arsehole in any way. And Two Happy Cats says, not the arsehole. With the way she was carrying on about food and weight, it sounds like she was making it a bigger deal than what the daughter was. You did the right thing for you. Definitely not the arsehole. And Servant of Bosco says, no OP, you're going to order the duck and like it. No salad for you. And nobody ever believes your food choices are religious and culture based. You are just putting on an act and lying about it. To paraphrase the wife of your boss. What the holy hell? Good for you for up and leaving. I don't know what your next step is though, a visit to HR? This is just so damn bizarre. At least you're only a part-time worker, not the arsehole, and how dare they put their daughter and her future problems on you? OP replies to this saying, should I? Does this situation call for a visit to HR? This is an off clock, and honestly I don't know. This is my first job relating to my chosen field, and I'm worried that this incident is going to reflect badly on me. And that annoying girl says, not the arsehole, I have an eating disorder and never expect people around me to order anything other than what they want. Maybe mum shouldn't have taken her teenager out for a meal with a bunch of people if she was recovering from an eating disorder. Whatever the fuck that means. And the way mum kept speaking for you and trying to order for you, no wonder her kid has eating issues. So not the arsehole. And Duckworth747 says, just chiming in as someone who recovered from anorexia nervosa when I was in my early 20s. This is so telling of what life must be like with that woman for this girl. The fact that she thinks she can control what you, an adult woman, are eating speak words about how this woman likely behaves with their daughter, and frankly I wouldn't be surprised if it were a major contributing factor in this girl's eating disorder. Just to break down the red flags I see here. 1. This woman willingly brought a recovering daughter into an environment with triggers, so no real awareness or accountability for how her decisions are affecting her daughter in this situation. 2. Instead of not bringing the girl into this environment, which would be her responsibility as a parent, she places the responsibility on you by insisting you order within parameters that suit her idea of what would not trigger her daughter. 3. She didn't consider your needs at all when choosing a restaurant, and then also assumed your reason for avoiding meat was for a weight reason. So more demonstrations of self-focus without consideration for the internal realities of others. Really, this is such a bummer for that poor girl. In my personal experience, that kind of controlling behavior with a lack of real empathy from a parent is exactly what causes eating disorders in children. And the information you gave is probably some of the best advice you can give an eating disordered person, in my opinion. As a recovered person, I would say very similar things about my own healthy eating. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And our next story comes from Trigger Dude. Am I the arsehole for firing my stepfather? My dad owned a successful business but has passed away, and I've, 25 male, inherited the business. The thing is, my stepfather works for me. My mother had an affair and cheated on my dad with his employee, aka stepdad. My stepfather has now been acting like the boss and trying to get away with things that would get anyone fired. He wouldn't do his work, and he either came in late or didn't show up at all, and I'm tired of this shit. Every time I try to talk to him about it, he always brushes me off. I'm tired of this blatant disrespect, and everyone at the company is as well. Well, yesterday, he tried to fire an employee of mine when he was in no position to do so. To be honest, I'm sick of him, and so are the workers, so I handed him a notice of termination personally and told him he has to go. He's mad at me, and so is my mother, and told me she was ashamed I was firing such a loyal employee. I almost laughed at that one, though it actually would have saved the company losing money from firing him. Am I the arsehole? We'll just put the cheating aside for a second here, because I'm sure the comments will cover that anyway. But just as a bad employee, yeah, fire the guy. If he's trying to fire people and he's not in a position to do so, and coming in late and all that sort of stuff, he'd be fired in any job, so you're totally right to do that. But yes, I'm sure the comments are going to bring up the whole cheating point. So Platano says, bro, I'm surprised your father didn't fire him for sleeping with his wife. And Opie replies, my father said that would be unprofessional to fire someone based on personal problems. Wow. And Andreek88 says, the anger I personally feel reading this is immense. I unfortunately have a less than stellar stepdad myself, and as someone who feels your pain, I am so proud you fired this ridiculous individual. Just because someone is family, which I use super loosely, doesn't mean you keep them around. My mum used to always defend her husband also, until I threatened my mum that she wouldn't be seeing her potential grandkids because I refused to have them interacting with a man who thinks it's 1953. You're not the arsehole, don't rehire this fool. And ANM313 says, not the arsehole, he tried to take advantage of you and get a free ride. He committed blatant insubordination, and keeping him on would hurt workplace morale. You warned him, he didn't listen, and now he has to deal with the consequences of his actions. An Artesian Perspective says, not the arsehole. If your mum doesn't know what has been going on, then tell her. If she sides with your stepdad, the real arsehole, then she's a co-arsehole. Your stepdad overstepped his position. He deserved to get fired, and it sounds like it not only saved money, but improved morale. And now I turn this one to you guys, a quick one there. Let me know your thoughts and what would you do in this situation in the comments below. And our next story is from Affectionate Try 752. Am I the arsehole for telling my parents I don't care that I'm being excluded from my adoptive stepsister's child's life and won't be sending a gift? This might get a tiny bit complicated, but I will do my best to explain. I, 22 female, was adopted by my dad when I was 3. My bio father was a bad guy and my mum and dad married when I was just shy of 2. My dad had a daughter, Sarah, from his late wife. Sarah, 28 female, was 8 when my parents got married and was still grieving her mum and not open to me or my mum. Sarah's friends with my cousin Jessie, 27 female, and has been since my parents got married. Jessie is probably the only person on my mum's side of the family that Sarah really talks to. So my parents had my younger siblings Jordan, 14 male, and Ella, 12 female, and Sarah never came round to them either. Once she turned 18, she cut off us and mum and kept minimal contact with dad. She still talked to Jessie though. About a year and a half ago, Sarah and dad started having more contact, more of a relationship, and it grew. But she tried to exclude us, which at the time meant just not wanting us in Zoom calls and stuff. But once stuff opened back up, inviting dad around to see her without us, and so dad told us she couldn't treat the rest of the family this way. She told him she would invite my mum to adult things, but she was not interested in a relationship. They took it as a sign that she might eventually open up to more, but she has kept my mum as still someone only invited to get her dad there. She does not want me or our younger siblings around at all. She has told them I am not her sister, and dad adopting me doesn't change the fact we're not blood, and the fact that my mum is nothing more to her than some woman her dad married after her mum died. Now she's having a baby and she's due pretty soon. We weren't invited to the baby shower, and she told my dad my mum will not be given any title, is not welcome to spend time alone with her child, that she is the only grandparent her child will know from her side. I'm not sure what is going on there, but my parents wanted me to be upset and still make an effort to reach out, send a gift, but I told them I don't care, I won't send anything. They're upset, said the fact Jessie will be godmother is a sign she could still come around more. They don't see that Jessie to her isn't family like family through the marriage. She's just a good friend. While my siblings and I are not family, neither is my mum, and she has made herself very clear in this. They think it's an arsehole thing to not at least try for the baby. I don't think I'm the arsehole, but maybe I could have been more tactful in saying I don't care. Because I know they care and they love her, and I know this baby is innocent in all this. Am I the arsehole? Now, to me, the first thing that was jumping out to me that she clearly has some issues around her mum being gone and some issues that clearly need therapy around that. But at the same time, I can see Sarah's never going to reach out to you again. So why would you try to, bond with her when you know the signs are there from what you said in this post? It's very strong. She's not going to make any effort whatsoever. So to keep trying is just like, why? I don't think I would in that situation. But let's check out some of the comments to see what they say. Geese in Uniform says, not the arsehole at all. Clearly Sarah has a lot of unresolved issues around her mum's death, and things might have been different if she had had adequate mental help, but that's not your fault, and you're at peace with the situation. I guess they're still wanting to try and play happy families, but again, not your problem. Sarah's made herself loud and clear. Kate Beckinsdale says, not the arsehole. Sarah's never made an effort. She made it clear that she doesn't like you. She won't make an effort and she barely tolerates you around, and then only to have a relationship with her dad. I feel bad for her because it sounds like she could have, or still does, desperately need therapy for issues relating to losing her mother. But that's an explanation, not an excuse, for how she's treating you. I don't see a reason why you would care about someone who for years has said that you mean nothing to them and never will. I have no doubt she'll reach out quick when she needs a babysitter or wants gifts, even if you're not invited to birthdays, etc., or any other sort of assistance when she needs it. And Human Fighter on a Horse says, not the arsehole. Your stepsister says she doesn't view you as family. You believe her. This is probably more upsetting for your dad and mum. And one more from Hello Friend saying, not the arsehole. Why should OP give a gift to someone who cannot stand to be in the same room as OP? The stepsister showed no interest in having a relationship with OP since she was 8, and I don't believe that will change at 22. Save your money, OP. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And our next story comes from Egnor Wildcat. Am I the arsehole for telling my newlywed wife who leaves food out for hours that she's going to get us killed? My wife was born in the US to Vietnamese immigrants. We've been married now for about a month. I've noticed that she'll do things like leave leftovers out until it cools down before putting in the refrigerator because it tastes better that way. I think it should be put in the refrigerator fairly soon, at a minimum, if not quick chilled in the freezer before putting in the refrigerator. But I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. But yesterday, it was taken to a new level. Her parents got some takeout Chinese food and got some for us as well. Very generous of them. They brought it in the mid-afternoon. We just had a big lunch, so we weren't hungry. So we're going to have it for dinner. She left all the food out on the counter. This included pork, chicken, shrimp. After an hour, I took the food and put it in the refrigerator. I came back downstairs 4 hours later and all the food was back out on the counter. I had to say something at that point and told her it was just plain dangerous, that it could send us to hospital. She was very defensive about it and said that her family had done this for years with no issues. The plan was to leave a meal consisting of pork, chicken, shrimp on the counter with a room temperature of 83 degrees for 5 hours and then we would eat it. Maybe it's a cultural thing, I don't know, but it just seems like Russian roulette. She was very upset because I was very firm that this was just not acceptable and thought I was mad at her, but I just don't want her to accidentally make us very sick. And there is a brief edit on this one as well, which we'll cover after the comments, but Rogue Bitch says, "You're the arsehole, because what you were describing by putting hot food in the freezer or fridge is equally dangerous if not worse. I had to pass a test to serve food in CA. Putting hot food that hasn't reached room temperature first in the fridge can create pockets of heat where bacteria has time to grow to unsafe levels. You should do some research and try to do things the safe way and not act out of ignorance and paranoia." I agree 5 hours is too long to leave out takeout food. In the future, try serving yourself a portion of everything and refrigerate yours only. People can develop a tolerance for many foodborne bacteria, and your wife and her family likely have stronger stomachs than you. Chill, protect yourself, educate yourself, and leave her food alone so she can enjoy it. And Wada Ep says, "I think both you and your wife should take in a food safety training course, and I mean both, not just her. It would be a couple's activity. They have these training courses for restaurant workers. Find one that allows you both to take the course. This way you can both come at the issue with an expert knowledge to base it upon." And I Love Sarah's Boot says, "No one's an arsehole here, but you're overreacting. Leaving out a meal between lunch and dinner isn't going to get you killed. Letting food come to room temp before putting it in the fridge is not only more cost efficient, it prevents food already in the fridge from having its temperature fluctuate. Seriously, let it go. If you're talking about leaving food out overnight, then maybe come to some sort of agreement. What you described isn't that though." An Appropriate Basket 94 says, "No one's an arsehole here. I'm Vietnamese and my family does the same thing. It's not a big deal to us. My stepdad had a huge culture shock when he saw this because he thought it was gross and a health hazard. Something you should recognize is that in Vietnam, many people don't have the luxury to just put things in the fridge. Foods are left out for a while and still eaten, and some foods are meant to be that way. Having a habit and switching to American culture can be hard. It's a clash of cultures from both sides, but I suggest you be more understanding. Try discussing with your wife different foods that can be left out and others that have to be refrigerated." And one more from LOL saying, "First, because you seem to be skipping over this too, it's a pretty bad idea to put hot food straight into a fridge or freezer, as that increases the temperature in the fridge and therefore the other food to above safe and could cause bacteria to form on said other food. It's widely recommended to let food cool down before sticking it in the fridge and certainly in the freezer. The second part seems excessive though and seems like a massive cultural difference. I don't know enough about the culture in question to call anybody out, but it seems odd to me too. No one's an arsehole here. Maybe she just needs to learn more about food safety. Maybe she has a point I'm missing. Doesn't really seem malicious or hostile in either direction though." And the edit says, "I'm a bit bothered that the top 2 responses contain misinformation. Putting a reasonable amount of hot food in the refrigerator will not cause the temperature of modern refrigerators to dip significantly. The only danger in doing that is that it doesn't cool fast enough to get out of the danger zone before becoming contaminated, and that is really only an issue for large dense foods, and my wife doesn't do it for any food safety reasons. She does it because she and her mother believe it makes the leftovers taste better." And now I'm totally confused on this one. What do you guys think of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Food safety. Once again, guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it all massively helps out this channel. It truly does. And just a thank you for spending the time out of your day with me. truly means the world. And if you want to support the channel further, you can, but absolutely no pressure to do so by clicking that join button down below for YouTube, or clicking the link in the description for Patreon and joining up there. Thank you so much for your love, support and time, and I will see you in the next one. Take care guys, much love.